Thank you, Vishal, for having me here. You see, macular hole surgery or all the macular surgeries have seen a sea change since the time we started doing VR surgery. In fact, the initial VR surgeries when I was in RP center, we rarely used to touch macula. We just do retinal detachment surgery and come out. And all the membranes, frankly speaking, we never used to touch. So much has been the evolution. Today, uh, macular hole surgery or ERM surgery is mouth-watering surgery. You see anybody sees, he says, I will do it, I will do it. So when I was, even a faculty starting at RP Center, macular surgery hardly evolved, and it used to just give B complex and come out. We are all aware of this international classification. Vishal, is all slides are visible? No?
Yes, sir.
Everything is visible, sir.
Okay, okay. So this is the internal classification which all of us should be following. Notice is that as per this, macular hole is 250 and 400. Less than 250 is small and large is 400. By this definition, all the macular holes which I think most of us see in this country are large only or extra large. They should include something like extra large or. So coming to the topic which Vishal asked me to speak was VMT. Believe me, I'm more scared of touching a patient with VMT than of macular hole, primarily because there could be an iatrogenic issue involved in once you are doing a pure surgery of VMT, because you don't want to create a iatrogenic hole here. But the key issue is, you see, if you start doing routine OCTs of all the patients in the OPD or pre-cataract, you will find that so many patients who have VMTs. But does that mean that all patients who are OCT diagnosed VMT require intervention? Because you are making now aware of the patient that you have this pull. A lot of patients may not be aware. So most patients, maintain good visual acuity with mild or minimal kind of metamorphopsia, and therefore I do not touch them. I do not make aware of this. Some people rarely may develop a complete PVD and can have a spontaneous attachment. So this is one of my patient. Right eye, I have created macular hole surgery long time back. She's under follow for more than now 10 years. And you see left eye is having a VMT. The hyaloid is still not separated. So obviously I have no guts to go inside and separate and restore the anatomy because the vision is 6 by 6 and there's no complaint. So this is the story of another gentleman. He had a VMT, if you notice, multifocal attachment. In fact, this was way back, and fortunately for him, and fortunately for I think me also, that he had a spontaneous kind of PVD. And you see macular anatomy also being restored, especially in the left eye. Right eye, I think, will get restored in a couple of weeks. So meaning thereby, VMT is a dicey kind of pathology, and I will intervene only if it is symptomatic. Patient is disturbed. Vision is not the criteria. Patient is disturbed by in his day-to-day life by metamorphopsia. And obviously, if patient is decreased vision or some other complication, then we definitely intervene. So we don't treat OCT. Just remember, we treat a human eye. So basic aim is to remove this green-colored hyaloid membrane here and remove all the traction, and the focal contour comes back. So all of us had been doing MIVS, and somehow this injection became popular in the US, and even FDA approval it was given. But honestly speaking, this does not do wonders. This is just like injecting anything in the eye, like air or saline, which have the potential to induce PVT. And you see, it came with a big bang, but it is a very expensive injection. And with one injection, the success rate is not great. It's around 25-26%. So therefore, normally a human being will not change to another modality of intervention until unless his success rate with his established surgery is less. So therefore, it's hard to change a winning game. And winning game for us is MIVS. In MIVS, it's a relatively a simpler job. There's hardly any need for doing base dissection in such patients. You just do a PVD and do vitrectomy maybe till not exactly till ora serrata, but beyond the vortex lens also. And key step is do a core vitrectomy. This video is a long time back. Therefore, you see we were not using tricorder at that time. So this did work in this patient, and we could induce a nearly complete PVD by just increasing the suction and engaging the vitreous. So Then came these trichord crystals, and trichord crystals had the property to get adsorbed onto the surface of the vitreous, and in case and once this is adsorbed, you increase the suction slowly and gradually. Don't start with 600, 800. I start with 300, 200, and gradually increase. And the end point should be signet ring formation. You see on the disc, if you see now carefully, we are at the disc level, and slowly and gradually pull without inducing any bleed or something, and this will come out. And this is generally the end point of BMTs, and this should improve. This was one patient whom we operated years and years after being diagnosed, and still the foveal contour could be restored. She was a diabetic laser, but she was always unhappy in her right eye. So simple surgery restored that. This is example of another patient, BMT, myopic patient, which was a focal attachment only, but very, very symptomatic. And after this surgery for BMT, we could restore this. Challenge comes in a situation like this. This was a middle-aged lady, symptomatic, disturbed with metamorphosis and right eye, plus early cataract also. And this was the OCT picture. The issue was if I pull too much, I could induce a iatrogenic hole. So what is done in such situation is a foveal sparing kind of PHF peel, or what I call PHF trimming. This video exemplifies that similar steps: pore vitrectomy, put triamcinolone, and instead of pulling, what you do is you trim all around the fovea, like it's being shown here. You go to the papillomacular bundle. This is showing, and allow this small stump to remain attached. You see this trichord stained stump which is attached at the fovea. Don't pull this too much. So I have trimmed this posterior hyaloid both nasally and temporally, and this does the job. You see the same patient after a couple of weeks. It takes time for foveal anatomy to come back to normal, but I have not induced any iatrogenic hole here. This is the same patient which I am showing here. Only PHF trimming was done. So no aggressive pulling of hyaloid in a situation like this. This is another patient where patient had 3/60 vision, profound symptomatic metamorphopsia, and this was the pull here. So here again only PHF trimming. I did not do any ILM surgery also here. I just trimmed the hyaloid, and this patient did improve in symptoms, and also fortunately 6/18 vision she got. Other surgery which Vishal asked me to cover was epiretinal membrane. We all know which is the culprit in what kind of pathology. You see, in BMT, the culprit is hyaloid. In epiretinal membrane, there is an epi upon that is upon the retina. There is a membrane on the retina, and in a hole which is further down, there is the ILM you need to peel. And you can easily distinguish this highly reflectile, membrane which is red colored in pseudo color image from the green color which is low reflective. This is vitreous, and this is a epiretinal membrane. Again, a lot of these epiretinal membranes may be asymptomatic. This is a global kind of ERM. Vision is 6/9. So again, I will not touch this patient because vision is good. Patient is asymptomatic. So what I am going to show you is one video of which contains 3-4 clips of various kinds of VRM in various situations. So this was a relatively simpler looking. We stained this with Reti blue and used the key step here is to create an edge. Once you identify the edge in a safe plane, that is between the membrane and the retina, healthy retina, then the half of the job is done. The palpitations occur till the time you are creating a plane. So once the plane is identified, then you can actually pull it with the vitreous forceps, or maybe sometimes you can drag it if you with the help of this MDF blade itself. So this was successfully removed. This was a patient of diabetes where we did not stain because this ERM was visible. So most of the times I will stain, but here because the edge was visible, so I just took it out. This was another diabetic where there were a lot of membranes on the surface of macula. So here again, after creating that edge, even this with the help of cutter only, a lot of this, the behavior of this diabetic membranes is different than the idiopathic kind of ERM. But nevertheless, all these macular membranes have to be removed. And this was another patient, silicon-filled eye, high myope. We had done the surgery. Post-RD surgery, this patient developed an ERM. And under the oil, sometimes you can remove this. So this is after teasing with the help of 25 MVR. So we took this Ackard forceps, and under oil sometimes only you can remove this. It may slip sometimes to identify the plane, and then this may come out. So this was post-operative ERM formation. This was a gentleman, middle-aged. He had dry ERMD along with the symptomatic ERM. So what we did was, after we removed the hyaloid with the help of tricot, I normally do a air fluid. I'll take one more minute, Vishal, and and
No problem, sir.
I thought it was 12 minutes here. So, and do an air fluid exchange, and after a near complete fill with air, I will put one drop of Reti Blue at the posterior pole and allow it to remain there for a couple of minutes, and under air only remove this excess of Reti Blue, and this is fluid is now on, and then take this MVR blade to identify the edge, and then peel off this membrane. Generally, this membrane will come in one go, one sheet itself. What you see underlying is the drusen bodies which are there, and this patient had dry AMD, and this patient was relatively much better off after this surgery. This is the end of the surgery. This is another gentleman where we did the similar steps, where we put one drop of Reti Blue after vitrectomy. Then this membrane was different than the previous one, and it was densely adherent and was more extensive, going much beyond the arcades also. So you have to be very patient. Do not show surgical heroism by be in a hurry. Go slow, identify the edge, and go to the periphery so that this membrane comes in one go. Go to the periphery again and catch at the base. After this, go to the base of this membrane and then try to peel it in one sheet. That again go to the base, leave it, again go to the base and peel off this membrane which is going all across superior, inferior, and this came out in a very easy. This was associated with retinal detachment. This patient had a young patient, secondary reg RD, but extensive epiretinal membrane there, stained in a similar fashion and removed in a similar fashion. I left this cord-like structure here, which was calcific and did not come out in this patient. I just had to trim this. So this is the last video here, where I'm following similar steps which I had shown before. After vitrectomy, air fluid exchange, and put this Reti Blue dye there. Reti Blue is different than Trypan Blue. It has higher concentration of Trypan Blue, and then put this drop. The only difference here was that this membrane was very densely stuck. So I was always, very apprehensive that I may not create a hole, because it was a global kind of ERM. Identifying edge is difficult in some of these global ERMs. And you notice the retina getting tented up. You notice always your eye should be on the underlying retina so that you do not create complications. So I went around and around and created a cauliflower like separation, and after that took this cutter actually. So I thought this may be more atraumatic rather than my pull. So with the help of cutter, I trimmed this, and ultimately this got revealed. So this was the end of my surgery here. This is a couple of pre and post patients of epiretinal membrane. This was a triple surgery done with cataract when all the membranes removed, and results are very, very satisfying in most of these patients. ILM I try to remove in all, but I do not insist in all patients of ERM because of fear of damage to the retina. Even global trends says that ILM surgery is not necessarily to be done in all ERM patients. This is another pre-post patient. So with this, I will thank Vishal for having me here. So this patient had, recovery of 6/6, although contour has yet to fully formalize, but still recovered very nicely. So thus to conclude, BMP surgery should be done with a caution so that you don't induce hypergenesis. ERM surgery is relatively easier comparatively if you stain it, identify the edge, and pull slowly and gradually and take out the membrane in one sheet. Thank you for your time.